How do I convince people not to engage in political mudslinging? Very timely question. So, what is wanting you to convince people not to engage in the mudslinging is actually an inner knowing that the mudslinging is in war mentality, that it's engaged in this right-wrong pushing battle that just creates more momentum and more energy toward whatever the person is against. Now, the word convince is also engaged in right-wrong reality, and it's a pushing energy. So the idea that you need to convince anyone is your way of engaging in the right-wrong mentality, if this makes sense. So what I want you to do is I want you to take yourself out of the war mentality. Take yourself out of the idea that you are in fact right and that these other people are wrong, and stop pushing against them. In other words, just bring yourself into neutrality. When you bring yourself into the neutrality of loving, you start to look at things from a higher perspective. You move up the spiral of growth out of the right-wrong mentality, out into the acceptance of the loving. And you start to see that it's okay that people are wherever they are with this. So there's no reason to convince them that they're wrong. Instead, you can start to just model peace. When I first began teaching publicly, I had a backlash of criticism where people were really judging my message. And this was a little bit distressing for me until I realized that it was the part of myself that was still engaged in this idea that I somehow needed to convince people of my position. And as soon as I got on to that backlash really subsided. And since then, I have had much more luck with actually reaching people with my message. So understand that there's no one to convince, that people are going to get what you have to share in their own readiness. And then just begin to look for your people. Who are you here to teach? Who are you here to model for? Set an intention to attract those people. When I put out these videos, I don't put them out into mainstream sites. I have no intention of reaching the mainstream consciousness. I'm just looking for the people who are awake enough to hear my message. So I might share on a spiritual site or a site about consciousness. And in this way, if I reach even one person with my message, I feel wonderful about it. I feel like mission accomplished. So become the way, claim neutrality in your position about where people are in their own learning. Let go of convincing and just start to speak your truth. And speak it to those who are open to hearing it. Find your audience. Many blessings of joy and vibrant freedom.